To achieve freedom, real freedom, the kind that lets you sleep peacefully knowing you have built something enduring, you must first assume the posture of responsibility. You must tell yourself, everything that happens to me is, in some part, my responsibility. I cannot control all outcomes, but I can control my preparation. You cannot build wealth, stability, or love while curled up in resentment. You must unfurl yourself like the lobster after its molt. Fragile, yes, but growing into a new armor earned through suffering, and suffering will come. That's the guarantee of existence. Every philosopher worth reading has known this. Life is not about happiness. Happiness is the byproduct of meaning, and meaning is found only when you accept suffering voluntarily. Life is suffering, the Buddha declared, and he was right. But suffering approached properly becomes the forge of transformation. When you straighten your spine against the storm, you transform involuntary suffering into voluntary endurance. You tell the chaos within you, I will carry this because carrying it makes me stronger. Now imagine this on a societal scale. Imagine an entire generation deciding each morning to stand up straight. Not arrogantly, not with the brittle posture of pride, but with the humility of responsibility. Imagine people who have stopped waiting for someone to rescue them, who have decided that they will build value, create competence, and face their dragons voluntarily. Such a society would not decay. It would flourish. Financial freedom, then, is not about the accumulation of material comfort. It is the consequence of moral posture. The man who spends every dollar he earns is like the lobster that builds no shelter. The first wave of chaos will sweep him away. You must instead prepare, save, invest, not just money, but competence, trust, and discipline. There is a story, one you've lived many times, of a man who looks at the horizon and says, someday I'll get in shape. Someday I'll start my business. Someday I'll speak up. But a someday is the language of the collapsed lobster, the posture of defeat disguised as hope. The someday never comes because chaos has no interest in your convenience. The antidote to a someday is a today. You act today in the smallest possible way, and you act again tomorrow. Each act is a brick laid against disorder. Let's talk about competence, because competence is moral. You cannot maintain self-respect without competence. You cannot love yourself if you are useless. Stand up, yes, but then learn to do something. Learn to serve. Learn to trade your effort for value. That is capitalism at its best. Not greed, but voluntary exchange. Competence meeting need.